My unhinged girlfriend drunkenly revealed to my friend that she was pregnant by her ex and intended to make me take responsibility for the baby. My friend told me immediately and I broke up with her. That's when she went off the deep end. One night at a party, my girlfriend, Sophia, had too much to drink and let slip a shocking secret to one of my friends. She confessed that she had been secretly seeing her ex behind my back and was now pregnant with his child. My friend, realizing the gravity of what he had just heard, immediately sought me out to inform me. She also mentioned that she planned to make me drop out of college to help support her and the baby. I had just received an acceptance letter from my dream college, so hearing this news felt like a punch to the stomach. I was devastated. I had so many plans with this girl. We had been together since our sophomore year of high school, and I even wanted to marry her after graduation. Hearing this betrayal was almost too much to believe. But then I remembered back to our senior year. Sophia would often talk about how serious our relationship was becoming and how our parents adored us together. However, she would also say that she wanted to explore the world and try new things before settling down with someone. She would ask me if I thought we were rushing into things too quickly, but I didn't see it that way because we had been together for 3 years by then. I didn't realize what she meant at the time. I told her we could always travel together, but now I understand that she was hinting at wanting to have experiences with other people. During our senior year, I noticed an incident where I saw her texting Brendan, her ex-boyfriend, while we were sitting together. I asked her why she was in contact with him, and she replied that they had dated back in freshman year, so she didn't think it was a big deal. She described their relationship as nothing more than puppy love. We had been together since sophomore year, and I told her that I wasn't comfortable with her texting him frequently because I feared it would harm our relationship. She reassured me that she'd been with me for 3 years and had no intention of leaving. I reluctantly allowed her to keep talking to him, but a few months later she started asking if they could hang out together. I was uncomfortable with this, but once again I allowed it, knowing that I'd be going away to college soon and that we would need to trust each other. Fast forward to today, and it turns out that the same guy, Brendan, was the one who got my girlfriend pregnant, and she expected me to raise the child and take care of her. The next day, I was still reeling from the shock. I was hurt and confused, but I knew I couldn't just let this go without confronting her. I went to her parents' house, my heart pounding in my chest. When she opened the door, she looked surprised to see me, but there was also a hint of guilt in her expression. I guess she remembered what she had said the night before. We sat on the couch and I brought up the conversation she had with my friend. She immediately denied saying anything like that and claimed she was just trying to make a joke while she was drunk, though neither of us found it funny. I told her to prove that it wasn't true and pulled out a pregnancy test that I had bought on my way over. Her eyes widened in shock when she realized what I was holding. I told her that if she couldn't take the test, then there was no way we could work things out. In my heart, I still wanted to be with her, but my mind knew I couldn't stay after she had cheated on me with her ex. She had lied to me and wanted me to put aside my dreams to support her. She tried to deny everything and turn the situation around on me, asking if I didn't trust her and implying that if I didn't, then we shouldn't be together. I told her that I was done and started to leave. She grabbed my arm to stop me and finally confessed. She admitted that she was a few weeks pregnant and that it had been an accident. She claimed they had only been together one time and insisted that she wanted me to be the father because she thought I was a better person. She broke down in tears, saying over and over that she loved me, not him, and that it was just a mistake. I knew the answer before I came over, but hearing it directly from her was still heartbreaking. I really believed we had something real, something that would last. I left that day, but her calls and texts didn't stop in the days that followed. It was painful to see her name and face light up my phone screen and force myself to ignore it for my own sake. When she realized I wasn't going to respond, she showed up at my parents' house. My mom answered the door, and Sophia stood there with her head down, clearly ashamed. She asked for me, and I walked down the stairs to see what she wanted. She said she just needed to talk. I agreed, but told her that after this conversation, she had to promise to leave me alone. She agreed, and we went to my room. As soon as she sat on the bed, she burst into tears again, saying she felt scared and alone and begged me to take her back. I told her that. I told her she should talk to Brendan, since he was supposedly the father. She admitted that Brendan had told her he was too young to take care of a child and wanted her to terminate the pregnancy. He even warned her that if she went through with having the baby, She would be raising it as a single mother. But she didn't listen because she assumed I would step in and take responsibility for the child. I made it clear that it wasn't my responsibility anymore and that I had made my decision. Deep down it hurt to think that the child would grow up without a father, but there was also a bittersweet relief in knowing I wouldn't be stuck with someone who manipulated me and forced me into co-parenting with her. In the following months, I was a mental wreck. My friends were a big help, regularly checking in to make sure I was okay. Sophia, however, spiraled into madness when she realized I was really done with her. She began stalking my social media accounts, always being the first to view my stories and often checking my profile daily. When that didn't satisfy her, she started contacting my mom. It wasn't long before my dad called me, asking if I was neglecting a child that might be mine. He told me that Sophia had shown up at their house, claiming that I had gotten her pregnant and then abandoned her and the baby. By this point, Sophia was visibly pregnant over 6 months along, and they had even had a gender reveal for the boy she was carrying. I explained to my dad that Sophia was lying and delusional. Although I no longer had the paternity test to prove it, I reassured him that I knew the values he had instilled in me, and I would have taken responsibility if the baby were mine. I also asked him to tell my mom that Sophia was lying and that she had cheated on me with her ex-boyfriend Brendan. My dad apologized for accusing me without talking to me first, saying he should have trusted me from the beginning. I forgave him and ended the call. When I got home from work, I searched through a drawer in my room until I found the paternity test. My mom was still skeptical, so I showed it to her. As soon as her eyes scanned the paper, I saw her anger melt into sadness. She apologized for not believing me earlier and explained that Sophia had made her story seem so convincing. She told me that Sophia had even cried in her arms, begging her to convince me to take care of the child we supposedly made together. With my mom now on my side, Sophia lost her last ally. She became deeply depressed, especially since Brendan also wanted nothing to do with the baby. She tried everything to win me back, sending gifts, showing up unannounced at my house and job, and begging for another chance, but I never gave her the reaction she was hoping for. Then, one night, my phone rang. It was Sophia. Her voice was frantic, and she was crying, her words breaking apart as she spoke. She started saying that she couldn't live without me and didn't want to go on without me. I told her she needed to see a therapist, but she kept begging me to take her back. I repeated what I'd been telling her all along, but then she said something that sent me into a panic. She threatened to take her life and the baby's if I refused to be with her again. Despite everything that had happened, I didn't want her to hurt herself, so I tried to keep her calm. I told her to stay on the phone with me while I quietly called the police from my home phone, muting my cell so she wouldn't hear. I stayed on the line with her until I heard the police arrive. They got there just in time to stop her from harming herself, and that night they took her to a mental hospital for treatment. That night was a turning point for me. The whole ordeal made me realize just how toxic and manipulative Sophia had been. With her out of my life and receiving the help she needed, I began to focus on rebuilding my own life. I went through a roller coaster of emotions: relief, anger, sadness, but with the support of my friend Lucas and my family, I found the strength to move on. Soon enough, it was time for me to go to college. Months passed, and gradually life began to feel normal again. I made new friends, joined clubs, and even started dating again, though I was much more cautious this time. Sophia remained in the back of my mind, but only as a distant memory. One evening, as I was studying for midterms, I got a text from the friend who had first told me about Sophia's betrayal. He said he wanted to grab something to eat while I was home for the weekend and mentioned that he had something to celebrate. I didn't know what the celebration was about, but I agreed since I hadn't seen him since I left for college. At the restaurant, he grinned as he slid an envelope across the table and told me to open it. Inside was a letter from all of my friends back home, telling me how much they loved and missed me and how proud they were of me for getting into my dream college. It really touched my heart. It felt amazing to know that I had such a strong support system behind me through everything. As I sat there, surrounded by friends and feeling hopeful about the future, I realized that I had come out stronger on the other side. Sophia's betrayal had nearly broken me, but it also paved the way for a new beginning. I had learned to value the people who truly cared for me and to never let anyone else define my worth.